Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and today we're going to take a look at another horrible case with you, the mysterious disappearance of Maya Millete. In January 2021, the city of Chula Vista, California, had not been quiet for days on end. During lunch, office workers shared city news with each other, and by late afternoon they consolidated what they'd heard over a family dinner. "Did you hear that?" they said. "A young woman, a mother of 3, has mysteriously disappeared." And each of them voiced their own versions of what had happened, but none of them wanted to be in her shoes personally. 40-year-old Maya Millete, a Filipino-American woman, disappeared from her own home on January 7, 2021. Outdoor surveillance cameras recorded Maya returning home around 5 p.m. The woman was not seen after that. The relatives of the missing woman, who were knocked down, stunned with grief, handed out leaflets with Maya's photos and hung posters around the city. Their concern was understandable. January 10th was the birthday of my eldest daughter. She would never for anything in the world would not miss this holiday, they said in one voice. As reported by the woman's relatives, the last time she got in touch with them was January 7th at 8:15 p.m. Dozens of volunteers and police officers went in search of Maya Millete. They searched the wooded area, nearby neighborhoods, creeks, and an abandoned golf course, but were unable to find anything. Larry Millete himself, the husband of the missing woman, never took part in the search for his wife. Moreover, after some time, he cut off all contact with her relatives. For a long time, the police assumed that Maya, having quarreled with her husband once again, decided to leave him. However, when she left the house, she could have been caught on the neighbor's CCTV camera, so she either did not leave the house, climbed out the window, or left the house in another way. What could be the reason for such strange behavior of a man? Maya, standing out among the others with her unusual beauty, probably had a lot of admirers, and maybe even more than one affair on the side. It is quite possible, without informing anyone, having lost her former feelings for her husband, she ran away from him, and not alone. Maybe that's why he was angry and didn't take action. Larry claimed, "I thought she was still alive because she voluntarily left our home at least twice in 2020 without saying goodbye to me or our 3 children. We prayed for her safety and well-being. God gave Pablito and Noema Tabalanza 6 children. Maya was born as the 5th. Since it was in May that the girl was born, her parents gave her the name May. She succeeded everywhere. The purposeful character of the girl helped her in this. Thus, being in elementary school, she was in the top 5 students of her class. After the immigration of the family in March 1995 in the city of Honolulu, located in Hawaii, the girl entered the high school Retford, and there she began to show herself. She actively participated in various school and extracurricular activities, especially emphasizing the drama club and dance lessons. After graduating from high school with honors at the age of 17, Maya got a job at McDonald's, where she met her future husband, Larry Millete. A relationship developed between them. When Maya turned 19 years old, they got married. At the same time, the girl entered the University of Hawaii at Manoa, a land-grant state research university. Life was boiling for the young people. While Maya was studying at the university, her husband Larry was training in the Navy in Virginia. After a while, the couple decided to move to the city of Chula Vista, California. In order not to stop studying, Maya continued her studies at the University of San Diego. After graduating with honors, she took a job with the U.S. Navy as a civilian contract specialist. Where are those strange noises coming from? Maya thought. Am I going crazy already, and are they unreal? The phrases "I love you," "love me," echoed through the house, slightly audible. Day and night they kept the young woman awake, haunting her in different places in the house. Maya's family didn't stop looking. They immediately hired a private detective. To maximize the attention of those who cared, the family repeatedly appealed to the public to help them in their search for her. On February 5th, 2021, the Chula Vista Police Department and the Millete family held a briefing to encourage as many people as possible to look for her. A short time later, skeletal remains were discovered in Orange County that were believed to be Maya Millete's, but this turned out not to be the case. It was then claimed that the remains belonged to a man. It was later proven that the remains were animal bones after all. On April 6, 2021, Maya's disappearance was broadcast on Good Morning America. The missing person case gained national interest in April 2021 when Maya's sister appeared on Dr. Phil's talk show to talk about the situation. Maya took all matters particularly seriously. Despite the fact that she came from a large family and loved children very much, she was in no hurry to have them. She didn't want to give birth until she and Larry had a steady, stable, high income. That's the American dream. After all, they had to provide their children with the best future imaginable. To make it happen, they had to work very hard and diligently. The right moment came in 2010. Then Maya and Larry had a daughter, Lara. In the wake of her a year later, another daughter, Milani, was born, and in 2016, the heir son, Lazarus Tristan. Maya was a great mother. She devoted all her free time to her children, giving all of herself. She attended all their school events, traveled with them in her SUV. There are some women whose children become the center of their universe. Wise, indulgent, caring. Maya was one of those women. By the end of 2020, the couple's relationship had become strained. Larry assumed that Maya had a lover. Her husband's jealousy knew no bounds, and if before she put up with these attacks, now she could barely tolerate it. Later, the DA's office would report that Maya had warned of Larry's capacity for anger. Just 2 days before his disappearance, police said, Maya texted a friend to end the marriage. "I told him I'm filing for divorce whether he likes it or not," she claimed. "I'm no longer trying to make peace for the sake of the kids." Larry controlled literally every move his wife made. At a frantic pace, the jealousy was escalating into sheer paranoia. Larry could go to her workplace at any time to make sure that Maya was not alone with another man. Larry was also pissed off by the fact that there were plenty of men on his wife's team. Larry once had the audacity to send an email to Maya's former boss, Derek Sopp, requesting that a male colleague be transferred to another division. He followed her practically around the clock, even got the kids involved in their squabbles. Larry once hid a child's cell phone in his spouse's car to track her movements. It got to the point where Larry was getting violent. He almost strangled Maya once. The couple separated, but not for long. In early 2020, Maya moved in with her brother, but rekindled her relationship with Larry after about 6 weeks. On August 12, 2020, Maya texted her brother, JR, "He never lets me be alone. He checks all my emails, messages, messengers, Facebook posts. He even checks my app on Venmo. And then what happens? He just tightens the reins harder." Although Larry wasn't initially a suspect, police have taken a keen interest in his identity. Investigators contacted Maya's relatives, who said that shortly before the disappearance, the couple had gone camping and spent the entire time they were there fighting. Maya returned from the camping trip and told her family that if anything happened to her, Larry would be involved. According to the case file, Maya's friend told police that Maya made a different statement in December 2020. "I don't think he would hurt me, but I think he would hurt the kids to get back at me." Prosecutors say the mother of 3 did not explain further what she meant at the time. When we fall in love, for better or worse, we see the object of our adoration exclusively in a rosy light. Often we project our character traits and attitude to life onto our partner without noticing the red flags, so-called in psychology behavior that may indicate the presence of an underlying problem or a potential threat to the well-being of the partner relationship. Abusers, manipulators, narcissists, aggressors, we justify them with deficiencies of upbringing, stress, but we should look deeper. Apparently, the nature is so laid down that families were created mostly in youth, when the whole world is presented in rose-colored glasses, so to speak, for a great, sometimes blind love, so that the human race did not stop. And after a while, having gained the necessary life experience, we see in a partner what was so carefully hidden from us at first glance. We think about re-educating, smoothing out all the sharp edges, to reconcile finally. But no, you can't change a grown man. It remains only not to give an outlet for his negative traits. This is the case with jealousy. If a person has certain traumatic events, paranoia is not far away. Returning to the sounds that Maya heard, One might guess that the woman had developed hallucinations amidst the stress of her family's troubles, but that was not the case. The situation took an unexpected turn. Maya remained sane, which is not the case with Larry. A police detective named Lorenzo Ruiz told the public the story of Larry's internet search, releasing screenshots of queries that included subconscious wife training and subconsciously training your wife to give pleasure. Unable to reach an amicable agreement, Larry began to influence Maya's subconscious mind by installing certain devices around the house that made this sound. Larry's cunning ruse was discovered by Maya. According to Matthew Grinley, an investigator with the San Diego County District Attorney's Office, in late 2020, Maya sent messages to Larry demanding that he stop playing such audio messages that negatively affect a person's mental health. This is a kind of influence that programs a person to perform certain actions. Maya heard these sounds every day. Maya's sister-in-law, named Genesis Tabalanza, later told investigators that Larry himself had independently recorded all these words and even confessed to Genesis about it. Who could have inspired Larry to do such a thing? Maybe the specifics of the job and the training he received during his service gave him the idea? The answer will shock many. The investigation found that between September 2020 and the time of Maya's disappearance, Larry sent more than 1,000 messages to various spellcasters and psychics. He purchased about 70 spell charms from them, spending more than $1,000. During a search of the home, police officers found a book titled Magical Love Spells. Larry was sending messages to similar witches and warlocks 1 time a day for sure. He asked for a spell to make Maya suffer some kind of physical injury that would make her unable to move around on her own, maybe become disabled, in general, to be completely dependent on her husband. Larry thought that seeing his concern at such a time, and the fact that he had not abandoned her in her hour of need, Maya would appreciate his feelings for her. After all, he is such a good man. Here's what he wrote in his messages. I would like a strong spell to bind my wife Maya Millete to me forever, to make her love me unconditionally as I love her. I hope you are able to cast a spell to cause bodily harm or maim, but not to kill. Looking at everything that was happening, at how Larry was gradually losing his mind, Maya was finally convinced of her intentions. In December 2020, Maya decided to divorce her husband. Every event in life, like actions, has an initial mechanism, a so-called trigger. Police believe that Larry's desperation to lose his beloved continued to grow by the day. On January 7th, the day authorities believe Maya contacted a divorce attorney, he was frantically trying to overturn my spouse's decision to file for divorce. I'm shaking inside, ready to snap, he wrote to one of the spellers. Earlier in the day, Maya called a divorce lawyer. By the way, attorneys also reported that Maya strategized how she would serve Larry with divorce papers because she was concerned about his reaction. She considered going somewhere else, and then suing him, and even made a contingency plan to stay in a friend's vacant apartment. But Maya didn't want to leave her children behind, prosecutors reported. She did not want the children to be with the defendant when he found out she was seeking a divorce. Perhaps Larry's extreme behavior, triggered by jealousy of his spouse, can also be blamed on mental health issues the man had, but had been dormant for a long time. Or maybe he always behaved differently than other people, just Maya and Larry did not put out of the trash. Larry's behavior was becoming more and more like that of a psychopath. Larry has a truly horrible temper, Maya wrote in a text message in June, according to the case file. In his own home, he created a small altar in the center of which he placed a joint photo with his spouse. Larry smeared the photo with his own blood and placed 4 candles around the edges. On January 23rd, police officers obtained a search warrant for the Millete family home. They found 16 firearms in the home that belonged to Larry. It was determined that 2 of the guns were in his possession illegally. 4 of the guns for which Larry had a license were missing. When asked by police officers where the weapons had disappeared to, the man explained that he had loaned them to his friend and uncle. In May 2021, Larry received a restraining order for the weapons, after which he had to surrender them to the authorities. This was justified by the fact that police found pictures of Larry's young son surrounded by guns in the house. It was possible that the children had access to it, so fearing for the possibility of them hurting themselves, the court ordered the order. The day after Maya's disappearance, at approximately 6:45 a.m., a neighbor's surveillance camera captured the Millete family's black SUV, a Lexus GX 460, driven by Larry. The man returned home at approximately 6 p.m. Where he had been all this time is not known. Another suspicious moment. The car was originally parked in such a way that the back of it was not in view of the neighbor's security cameras. As we remember from the beginning of this story, Maya's family was planning a birthday party for her oldest daughter on January 10th, 2021. So when Maya stopped answering calls and texts, one of her siblings traveled to Chula Vista to make sure everything was okay. When Maya's brother met with Larry, the latter told him that his wife had gone to one of her rooms the night before after their argument, locked herself in it, and was not talking to anyone. In the morning, Larry took his son to Solana Beach, a coastal town in San Diego County, and when he returned, Maya was still in the locked bedroom on the second floor. On January 9th, Larry again told Maya's relatives the same story about the locked room, but no one believed him. The relatives demanded that Larry grant them access. When Maya's family entered the room, it was empty. Maya was nowhere to be found in the house. However, her car was parked outside the house. Only her credit card and driver's license were missing. After that, around midnight, Maya's older sister, Chris, filed a missing persons report with the police. It wasn't until January 15th, after his spouse missed his oldest daughter's 11th birthday, that Larry Millete said he was concerned about his wife's fate. In addition, on January 8th, the day after Maya disappeared, Larry did not text any of the psychics. And on January 9th, according to prosecutors, he asked a witch to lift all spells on Maya and cast spells on a man he believed Maya was having an affair with. It is clear that Maya was unlikely to have left her house, otherwise the security camera would have recorded it. On that unfortunate day, another strange thing happened. Larry and Maya's children were playing in the yard at about 10 p.m. This event did not go unnoticed by a neighbor of the Millete family. He was surprised by it, since it was late and cold outside. At 9:57 p.m., the neighbor's surveillance camera captured the sound of 9 loud bangs. Police speculated that they may well have been gunshots. After audio analysis of the video, police were unable to understand the nature of the sounds. Another coincidence that casts doubt on the man. Larry owned a huge gun collection, including a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson pistol, which police were unable to locate in the house, according to court documents. Billy Little, a junior attorney working with Maya's family to investigate the case, was able to uncover one incident that occurred 15 years ago, specifically on the evening of April 30th, 1997, in San Diego's Bay Terrace neighborhood. Maya met Larry Millete in high school after he moved to Hawaii from San Diego with his family. The move may have been prompted by Larry's arrest for a 1997 juvenile gang-related assault. I have reason to believe that he, Larry, was in a gang, the attorney argued. As a juvenile, Larry was arrested for a stabbing. The victim of the attack suffered multiple stab wounds and was rushed to Mercy Hospital, where he eventually recovered. As a rule, criminal records often find their echoes in adulthood. In an interview in January 2021, Larry admitted that he did have an argument with Maya in 2020. As of February 3, 2021, Larry stopped cooperating with the police. On July 22nd, Larry was officially named a suspect. Investigators assumed that the 41-year-old man killed his wife on the night of January 7th, ate, and then disposed of her body. In interviews, Larry told the same story that Maya's relatives had heard, about the argument and the room his wife had locked herself in. By a strange coincidence, his phone was turned off for about 11 hours on January 8th. Larry didn't show up for work that same day, and no one reliably knew exactly what he was doing. It was impossible to track his whereabouts. Too bad the neighbor's video surveillance camera is a mute witness to the events that unfolded and can't talk. The camera shows Larry driving his car up to the garage in such a way that the rear of the car is not in the frame. Larry may well have known which part the camera was capturing and positioned the car in a convenient manner. During this time, he could safely carry Maya's body through the garage and then, loading it into the trunk, drive away to dispose of it. Following his arrest, the man remained in custody and was held without bail. On October 19, 2021, Larry Millete was arrested for the murder of his wife, Maya, based on circumstantial evidence, and the children were given legal custody to his parents. To prevent further emotional trauma, the court barred Larry from having contact with his children. But the man violated that injunction more than once. He called his relatives, who gave him the opportunity to talk on the phone with his children. In total, he made more than 100 phone calls and talked to his children for more than 9 hours. According to prosecutors, during some of the calls, Larry made disparaging comments about Maya's family or asked for news headlines to be read to him. He asked an 11-year-old girl to have her and her 10-year-old sister watch a movie called Shot Caller, an R-rated movie that contains a warning, said Deputy District Attorney Christy Bowles. Essentially, it's a story about a businessman who goes to jail. Larry suggested that children watch it to see what kind of environment he was in. As a result of the court, Larry was stripped of all phone calls except for calling his attorney. However, as early as October 2022, Larry was granted permission to communicate with his children in writing. He was still prohibited from speaking with them through personal visits and the telephone. In order for the children to continue attending their current schools in Chula Vista, they were awarded custody to their paternal grandparents on October 19, 2021. Maya's sister also wanted custody of her nephews, but was denied. Maya's family was allowed to visit the children, but they still wanted to seek full custody of them through the court. The judge ordered Larry Millete's parents to facilitate maternal visitation with the family and work to obtain mental health services for the minors. When visiting the children, relatives are prohibited from discussing any details about ongoing criminal or probate cases with the children. Fairness. The children were left in the care of the parents of their mother's alleged killer, in a town where everything reminds them of the tragedy. Maybe the court should have sided with Maya's sister after all, giving custody to her. In June 2022, Larry's lawyer filed an appeal claiming the man was incompetent to stand trial, but after a psychiatric evaluation, Larry Millete was found competent. It is unlikely that an insane man could have been aware of his actions in cleaning up his tracks. When examining Larry's seized cell phone, it was found that all the text messages he wrote to his wife had been deleted. When asked where the correspondence had gone, Larry explained that he simply wanted to free up space on his phone. That's a strange answer, because the messages don't take up that much space on the device. During the trial, it turned out that Larry had withdrawn a large amount of money from his bank account. Perhaps with the money in hand, Larry was making plans to escape, or maybe he just wanted to move to another city, starting a new life with his children. Charged with murdering his wife and illegal possession of weapons, Larry Millete's trial is scheduled to take place in 2024. However, the trial has already been postponed and moved to other dates more than once. Could it be a matter of so-called circumstantial evidence? After all, circumstantial evidence is evidence that relies on an inference that connects it to a fact. For example, fingerprints at a crime scene. Direct evidence in turn supports the truth of a statement directly, that is, without the need for any additional evidence or inference. It is easy to get confused without the necessary legal skills and experience. In any case, the situation is unfolding before our eyes, picking up its pace. One thing is constant and tragic. The once prosperous, at least in appearance, family is destroyed. The mother has disappeared and is apparently dead. The father is in prison and apparently the perpetrator of the atrocity. The 3 children are left without parental love. 3 innocent souls, traumatized for life, left to live in a society that will remind them of what happened many times over. Whether in reproach or out of pity, grieving the wound. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to the channel and also don't forget to click the bell. There are many shocking stories ahead.